Welcome back to another episode of Athlete POV. We're sitting down with Brandon Egemo, guard, LSU basketball. Obviously, he just finished up the tournament. Nice to see you out there. What's going on?
Yeah, just after the season now, just doing workouts, making sure my body's right for the next year, and then also enjoying life. Yeah, it's cool.
I gotcha. How would you sum up this past tournament? What was the main thing you could take out of it, you think?
I would just say there's a lot of from just watching it from other teams also, it's probably one of the more, I would say, most upsets I've seen, and also it's kind of different seeing with our coach not being there. Yeah, it's a lot different than last year, because last year was my first March Madness.
Right.
And due to COVID, there was a lot more restrictions and stuff, but yeah, basically main difference just very different.
I got you.
The simplest way.
I got you, man. Yeah, very cool, very cool. So now, looking forward a little bit in the future to next year, what are some expectations that you and your team might have?
I mean, it's kind of hard to say now, but I mean, I'd have to see how our team is coming after all this, because we just got a new coach.
Right.
But I mean, hopefully, we always have high standards here at LSU, so hopefully we'll get back into the grind, and hopefully we get back into the winning column for next year.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, LSU is a sports school, so
for sure.
We're trying to get
with football, with basketball, baseball. You know, it's a sports school.
Yeah, it is.
So now, especially with the SEC, we ask all of our athletes this, whatever conference they're in. Do you think the SEC is the toughest conference in sports and basketball specifically?
Overall, yeah. There's always stigmas between different conferences, what we hear from coaches and all that. But I would say overall, ours is pretty consistently the hardest one.
For sure. I mean, you get the same answer. You get sort of the similar answer from everybody. We've talked to a couple of kids from the Big Ten in the Pac-12. I feel like every conference might have its strengths, but SEC, you can definitely tell the competitive level. Everyone is just, I feel, so much more into it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, overall, the highest recruits tend to go to the SEC.
Right. Southeast, it's nice and hot usually in most of the schools. Nice weather, so definitely can see the appeal there. So now, about you now, with your game as basketball, what would you say your biggest strength is on the court?
I would say shooting and passing, for sure. I'm good with getting guys open shots and stuff, and I can also hit down a catch and shoot shot.
Would you say there was one really big moment in your career this far that really stood out to you?
I mean, in my senior year of high school, I kind of had a really big game against a well-known school in California called Mater Dei. I had a pretty good game against them, and that kind of opened my eyes to just playing well.
I gotcha. And then
confidence.
For sure. And then with high school, you came on to LSU as a walk-on, right?
Yeah.
So now, what does that meant to you? Has it made you work harder, you think, as a walk-on compared to other guys, or where's your mindset there?
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of times we're used as punching bag, or we have to make sure our body's as healthy as possible so that we can always practice every time, but also be able to withhold threshold of the big guys, and basically be able to give 100% effort to helping the team, and also making sure that we can do whatever we can to get better.
Right. So now, we had my team, we did a little bit of research on it. We found out how someone you maybe represent your game after is Steve Nash, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So what has he meant to you, and what do you really look up to him for?
I mean, so he's just like me. I'm not really athletic at all. I mean, obviously I can do little things, but because I'm at D1 level anyways. But
right.
He's similar to size to me. He's white kid coming out of Canada. Even though I'm not from Canada, but we came similar backgrounds. I played soccer growing up. He did too. He's pass first guy, but he's able to get guys involved. being a little flashy. Like I tend to like to be a little flashy sometimes, but also he's a good shooter, just good overall team guy, and then also good character off the floor.
Absolutely, and you can't say enough good things about Steve. I mean, amazing NBA career. Definitely someone to look up to. Yeah. So now, if not basketball, would there be another sport you'd be really playing right now?
Maybe soccer or football.
Was that a high school sport for you too?
No, so football. I mean, it was kind of tough. I just wanted to focus on basketball in high school, but I played football pretty much like throughout leading towards high school. I would like if I went to a different high school, I probably would have played football. But yeah, that or soccer. But soccer's in the same season as basketball, so it's kind of tough.
Right. Yeah.
High school.
Gotcha. Yeah. So now, someone like yourself, about you now, nothing really just happens by luck or chance. Like obviously, you've worked to get to where you are right now. So what I'm trying to get at here is, what are some of maybe your healthiest habits that are just implemented into your daily routine every day?
Obviously, so stretching, foam rolling, but also, I guess being consistent within like the weight room, making sure your body's like always 100%. Like even like off season, I tend to go a little bit like heavier, a little stronger, like the gym. But during the year, during the season and stuff, I try to maintain my body, not so much build it, just so I don't lose mass or like my strength and stuff. But just being consistent with the diet. Like I've been trying to be better with that, like with cutting out sugar, drinking more water, just different stuff you can do off the court.
Absolutely. What do you think could be the most underrated aspect of preparing in the off season for an athlete?
Cutting out. I mean, I would just say it's cutting out bad habits, going to sleep earlier, like getting your work done earlier in the day, and then being able to do like recovery stuff in that afternoon or just after is a huge benefit, because then you can actually like relax and get yourself ready for the next day.
Right, and you mentioned like a sleep schedule. I think it could really hurt somebody, not just an athlete, anybody. If you wake up at say 11 o'clock every morning, you have like a sandwich, not like say eggs or like something healthy like a breakfast. So that's really important.
For sure.
Yeah. So now tell me about this podcast you started, Studio 5004.
Yeah. So Studio 5004. I thought it'd be fun, and also because due to like NIL, you can actually get sponsorships now, or partnerships or sponsors, whatever you want to call it. But I've been thinking about it. Thought it'd be fun to like, I guess, have more conversations with people, because a lot of people are just into their like phones and just all that. But this gives like an opportunity to actually like understand and learn more about someone, and then putting it on a platform just like how you're doing it. Thought it'd be fun to do that, and also who knows where it takes off, because I have a lot of connections out here. So just having different athletes on, or just different people in general. Like I've had a clothing designer. I've had some music artists. Yeah.
Right, and I feel like podcasts are definitely like one of the next big like social media, like really where people's attention are going. Because with Athletic Minds, the brand I have, podcast was recently started a couple months ago. Athletic Minds has been a thing for really just almost 3 years now. So with the podcast, I feel it's a great way. We talk to a couple athletes every week that we upload to our podcast. I mean, it's growing exponentially, I'd say, but not like drastically right now. But either way, podcasts are really, I think, one of the next big ways for like to draw people's attention into something that you're interested in, of course. And now being an athlete like yourself, of course, you're gonna have a lot of people that are interested in talking to like an LSU basketball player. It's a pretty big deal within college sports. Sure. So now you mentioned how with your podcast you've made like an NIL partnership or like that. How heavily involved are you with NIL?
I mean, I'm talking to a few people every so often, but I mean, once I like focus on my brand first, I can get like, I guess, sponsorships, like bigger sponsorship and partnerships in the future.
I gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, right now I'm just focusing on like getting my stuff like out there more.
Right, and I feel like that's really anybody on social media. Once you have like a personal brand where you like stand for something, you have a message, then you really can now either reach out or brands will reach out to you, and now you'll work with that type of person. I feel.
Yeah,
So that's definitely just how really all partnerships work. But it's great with NIL how athletes can now be involved and to take advantage of their name, likeness, and image.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So here we'll cut it out there. Take a little break. But you have anything you want to add I didn't mention so far?
I mean, no, I think you're hitting a lot of the stuff. I mean, yeah, just keep doing it. I guess the only thing I will ask is how you approach podcasting, I guess. Versus, how to learn.
Yeah, how about after we're done with the talking about yourself, I'll go into that afterwards. I'll talk to you about it. Yeah, cool. So a couple more just topics I have. I don't know why I paused there. I just drew a blank.
Yeah.
But that's the great thing with editing. You can just cut and put stuff next to each other. All right, cool. So now, if you could give any advice to someone, an athlete specifically, that's maybe going through a tough time with their mental health, what advice would you give someone like that?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely gone through it in college. I mean, I would just say, always just push through. When you're dealing with shit and going through a mental block, whether in high school, middle school, college, I would definitely say don't base it off what other people are doing, and stick to your grind. Because at the end of the day, you can't compare yourself to others. That will just complete your mental.
I got you. More. Yeah, and I feel like as you said, you can't compare it to other people. One of the big I guess mantras you can say that Athletic Minds really goes by is and myself, that you can't really compare your step 1 to someone else's step 20 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like if you say, "Oh, I want to be like LeBron James," he's done all his stuff already, sort of. But now if you're just starting, you can't really compare that. You have to work on yourself, and build yourself up. And I guess that kind of relates to personal image and, like you said before, with brands. But that's really everything. It's yourself. Or building a habit, or eating right, or focusing on your career and leveling up in that aspect.
Yeah.
It's all individualized.
Yeah, I would say someone that that I've taken a quote from, Matthew. Everybody knows Matthew McConaughey, but he was asked who his idol is, or who wants to go idolize himself as. And he said himself in 10 years. He's always working towards himself 10 years in the future, and then when he gets there, he's not there. He's still not there yet, so he has to work for another 10 years. That's something that I would look forward to, or just think of myself as my.
Yeah, that's a great example. I really haven't. I think I've probably heard of that, but not recently. But looking at yourself in 10 years, just imagining where you can get to, that's definitely a place a place to shoot for, and something you should always strive to be. And then, as you said, when he gets there, he's like, all right, now I'm going to wait another 10 years, Or not wait, look forward to another 10 years.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to what I've expected yet. So, I keep pushing forward. There's always going to be a standard.
Right. So now, just some a fun question here. If you could go to dinner with 2 different people, right? Dead or alive, who would you pick? Where are you going? And what are you ordering?
I would say, just because I'm trying to get into more business aspect, but also life stuff. For sure, Mark Wahlberg and David Goggins. Those are 2 people.
Did you ever read that book by David Goggins?
Bits and pieces. I mean, I've more so heard him speak about it, but I've also his life story's crazy.
That's a great book. I've read it front cover to back. It's a pretty good book. Yeah. And his whole mindset's ridiculous. He lost so much weight. He's been through so much with his family. I don't
3 weeks in 1 year.
I don't know how. I don't know how he operates, but it's definitely someone to look at to shoot for, that type of mindset. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure. It's wild.
So we want to thank Brandon for coming on. Appreciate his time. We're looking forward to what LSU can do next year, and I'm sure Brandon will be a big part of that. Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
All right.